Hello and welcome back to the Gipton War Room, otherwise known as my garage. But today it's a small part of the Cotentin Peninsula. We're a few miles inland from Utah Beach in the early evening of the 6th of June, where US infantry are moving up from the beaches, meeting up with elements of the airborne forces, as well as coming into contact with German forces, leading to sharp encounters as both sides seek to control the villages and roads further inland, key to both forces. Okay, so this is a fictitious village and units, and we're going to see veteran rapid fire and Napoleonic wargamer James, commanding the US forces, taking on Napoleonic wargamer and modeller Gabby, who's had a few games of bolt action under his belt. Now he's going to be commanding the German forces. Now Gabby's Napoleonic figures and vignettes in the past have often graced the front cover and pages of War Games Illustrated many years ago. So it's going to be an interesting encounter with a few house rules thrown in. Today's game then is the Skirmish at Fresville or Plan. Right, so this battle, it's going to be a meeting style engagement with objectives down the centre of the road marked A, B, C, and D. There's going to be some house rules or garage rules, as it were, and they're going to be as follows. Right, both sides will only have 12 command dice, but obviously they're going to have more units than that. So they're going to have to make some tactical decisions as the game goes on as who they want to move or react. Meaning that some units will not be activated during a turn, which again could lead to some interesting tactical decisions that they're going to have to make as the game progresses. May leave some units isolated, may leave them vulnerable. We'll see what happens. Right, James and Gabby will not know the type or how many units the other has. Obviously, they'll know it's American and German. All they know, all they're going to see, is the forces that they have at their disposal. So it's going to be a pretty good fog of war style encounter. Each are going to be given a separate briefing with some special rules for their forces that obviously only they're going to know. They'll have no idea what their opponent has in terms of forces, when those forces arrive, where they're going to potentially arrive on. So it is going to be, as close as I can get it, fog of war. Now, for James and the American forces, he's obviously going to have some US infantry and some airborne reinforcements. Now, these are going to enter the battle on turn 3 onwards, and they're going to come on as outflankers. But before the battle starts, James must indicate, obviously, which flank that the airborne are going to come in. Now, with it being a meeting engagement, it's going to be table quarters. So James's forces that he elects to bring in the first wave or second wave are going to come in along this table quarter. And again, once he enters the board here, he can immediately go this way or straight up. Gabby with the German forces are going to be entering from the opposite table quarter over here, and again likewise when he comes in he can immediately start coming in on angles. Now the main aim of the game is the objective markers. Now we've got 4. These are marked A, B, C and D. And obviously it's a meeting engagement, but the key is for the forces to come and get the objective markers. Now they can do that by basically, it's got to be an infantry unit that they have to run up or move up, advance up, whichever, and just get into contact with the objective marker. Now they can pass it, they can run past the objective marker, as long as they go over it. It then counts as belonging to them until that unit is either wiped out, or an enemy unit obviously then comes across and runs across the same counter or the same objective marker, and then they claim it. Each objective marker is worth 5 points. If it's a draw, each side will get a point for every unit destroyed, and every unit a point for every unit that they have occupying in a building. So it should be interesting how they're trying to mass points and win the game. Now the Germans that Gabby is going to be commanding, again, they come in along this table quarter. So it gives them options to run straight up the side of the river, or again from here straight at an angle. However, we're going to give, because the Germans are already in position, as it were, or in the area, we're going to allow Gabby to deploy 2 units of his choosing anywhere on his half of the table. That includes this table quarter as well. It can hide them. Now they'll not be on the table. They will be hidden. Because what Gabby's going to have to do is obviously indicate what units he's got, and then what I've also done is done a little map, if you can see here. So Gabby will indicate on the map, he'll put down where his units are hiding on his half of the table. So potentially he could hide the units in these buildings, and as soon as the Americans advance or come up, he can open fire, obviously, and ambush them. Now they'll be hidden, they'll be on the map, they'll only be put on the table when he either moves or fires, or if James gets a unit, obviously within 12 inches, and they're effectively spotted. But this will be an interesting, again, quite an interesting quirk to the game that James won't know that when he advances in, potentially is advancing right into an ambush. Another addition that Gabby will have that James doesn't know is that on turn 4, Gabby will be able to have a stug as reinforcements. Now again, at this point, the stug can only enter on this road in Gabby's table quarter. So they've both got some tricks up the sleeve. James has the airborne, US airborne, that can be outflankers and can come in on either side. Gabby's got a couple of units that will be hidden, as well as having a stug coming in as reinforcements. So fingers crossed, it should be a good game. Right, just a quick one on the table that we've got today, and obviously some terrain features. Playing on a 6x4 MDF table that I've made that we've just been covered with polyfiller and painted. Right, in terms of the rules then, the houses will block line of sight. The walls, the bocage, they'll also block line of sight. The walls give hard cover, but they don't block line of sight, apart from this one just over here, which will because of its height. The lichen that you can see dotted about, that'll count as soft cover. However, the trees that are dotted around, they can be removed. They're just purely there as an aesthetic to the game. We have 2 orchards, this one here and the one just over there. Again, they will provide soft cover. So if a unit's on the outside of the walls, along the walls, firing in, they will get soft cover if they're in the orchard. The river sections, it's impassable by infantry, obviously by vehicles. The only way across is across the bridge there, which is at point D. There is lichen either side giving soft cover. So again, same with these walls, soft cover. Everything else is as you see it. In terms of the stuff we've got down today, these are the roads that I make myself out of carpet, and they've also double quite nicely as rivers as well. These 2 buildings here are 3D printed that I got from the tree fellas at Vat and Attack in York. The other 3 or 4 buildings that you can see, they're all Sarissa Precision ones that I've got built and painted myself and just stuck onto bases. Then I've added some extra detail with some balsa and plastic card just to bulk them out a little bit. And again, you can see you've got windows there that's just clear PVC that's just been painted. Rubble, it's just some decorative like potpourri with some coloured cork, and then I also got some coloured stones from an aquarium shop, which works quite well really. In terms of the map that we're using today for Gabby's hidden stuff, it's just here. Essentially all I've done is take an overhead photograph of the table and then using some software, some free software called Graphite, it just makes it into like a pencil. So you've got an instant map that you can then use to know where your forces are, and actually have them truly hidden, as opposed to being on the table where, albeit you can see them, you can't shoot them. When they're on a map and they're not on the table, you don't know where they are. So there we are. There's today's board. Right, the German forces are led by a company commander who's a veteran, armed with SMG and 1 accompanying man. There's also 2 other platoon commanders, both veteran, single figures, armed with an SMG. We've then got 5 Heer Grenadier squads, 10 men each, 1 NCO with SMG, 1 light machine gun and loader. 3 of the squads also have additional Panzerfaust. We then have a heavy weapons platoon, which consists of 2 medium machine gun teams and 2 medium mortars, both with spotters. And we also have finally a Stug Mark III, coming to a grand total of 1,208 points, I think. The American forces, the US infantry is commanded by 1 company commander, accompanied by 3 men, all armed with rifles and the regular. There's a forward observer, accompanied by a man, again both armed with rifles. There's then a platoon commander, who's accompanied by 5 men. He's armed with SMG. One of the accompanying men's armed with SMG also, and there's 4 rifles. There were then 3 rifle squads that are made up of 1 NCO armed with an SMG, 9 rifles, and 1 BAR plus loader. We then have a light mortar team, again regular with no spotter, a bazooka team, a sniper team, and then the support platoon is commanded by a platoon commander armed with an SMG and 2 accompanying men, both with SMGs, all regular. There is then 1 medium machine gun team, 2 medium machine gun teams and 1 Stuart M5 light tank. The airborne force that arrives on turn 3 as outflankers is as a platoon commander armed with SMG, with 1 accompanying man also armed with SMG. They're veteran. There's a bazooka team, veteran. 1 squad consists of 8 figures with an NCO armed with SMG, 5 rifles, 1 light machine gun and loader, they're veteran, and the second squad is 7 figures, 1 NCO armed with SMG, 4 rifles and 1 light machine gun and loader as well. Comes to a grand total of 1,476 points-ish. Right, so first die out the bag is German, and Gabby runs on the medium machine gun team. Right, American die, and the rifle squad advances on the far left flank. Another American die, and another squad advances on the table. Another American die, and this time the light mortar also comes on. Yet another American die, there are German dice in there, and this time James brings on his sniper team. And yet another American die, and the bazooka team also advance on. Finally a German die, and the rifle squad runs up the road. American die, and this time another rifle squad advances into the light orchard. Another American die, and the platoon commander with his accompanying rifleman enter the table. Right, the next die was American, but James has put a unit down that's off table, and then a German die, and Gabby has run on his mortar team. Another German die and another mortar team enter the table. German and another rifle squad run on to the table. German again and another rifle unit run on next to the mortar team, just taking cover behind the low wall. Right, the next 2 dice for American. Again, James put some units off table down, and Gabby has now brought on yet another rifle squad. Right, all the remaining dice in the bag that were drawn, both Gabby and James put units off table down. So that brings us to an end of turn 1, with all units, well, not all units, but quite a lot of units now advanced on the table. Them as well. Right, the first die is American, and James runs one of the rifle squads into the ground floor of the building. American again, and the bazooka team just advance to the corner of the building, potentially looking up the street. German die, and the rifle squad runs 12 inches up the road, very close to the first objective marker. German again, and the machine gun team continues its run at the side of the river, again getting very close to another objective marker. Yet another German, and another squad runs into the town. There was another German die, and the officer has now obviously run along with the unit as well. American die, and the spotter, forward observer, lays down a ranging round, ready for the next turn on the German unit that's just emerged at the crossroads. A US die, and the infantry squad emerge from the other side of the hedges and start to run towards the objective A. Another American squad run up to the corner of the low wall just opposite the junction, very close again to objective B. German die and the rifle squad behind the wall advance over it into the rear yard of the house. Yeah, American and the platoon commander advances up behind his one of his squads.
Into the, sorry.
Yeah.
Put him there.
So there's again the German squad runs up just behind the building. And the German company commander finally comes onto the field of battle. Sniper team run up the side of the building on the road. An American medium machine gun team advances up the road.
I'm assuming, can he get there and nip over the wall?
I can get up to the wall. So the German platoon commander runs on just up to behind the wall. Now the next die was German. Gabby put a unit down that was off table, and James has now brought on yet another medium machine gun team. American and the platoon commander for the support troops now also comes onto the table. American and the Stuart tank comes on because the previous two die were German. They both went down, and now the American Stuart tank drives up the road into the town. Right, the final die was American, and James put a unit off table down. That brings us to the end of turn 2. The Americans are advancing in weighty numbers on the left flank of the table. The Germans likewise on the right hand side. They're starting now to push in towards those objectives. On to turn 3 now, and we'll see whether the artillery comes in from the battleships waiting offshore. Right, so turn 3, and the artillery barrage was delayed, and the first ice out of the bag was German, and Gabby has run his rifle squad over the junction 12 inches, passing the objective C, and now claiming it as control of that marker and that junction. American die, and James advances his rifle squad over objective point A. US again, and the officer, the platoon commander, runs up the road. German and the medium machine gun team run over the bridge, again taking control of objective marker D, another vital strategic point now controlled by the Germans. American die, and the Americans advance over the wall into the middle of the crossroads, and again secure their second objective. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, just getting a little bit closer up so they're closer together. But I believe Gabby may have something he wishes to say.
I'd like to spring an ambush.
Yep. Right. Oh dear. This could be quite brutal. But then again, we are using our white dice, so you never know.
Oh God.
Gabby deployed hidden on the map the medium machine gun in the top floor of this house on the junction, and he's been waiting very patiently for just such a moment, and he's now going to open fire on the unfortunate US infantry as they advance into the open in the middle of the crossroads. 7 shots. Ouch. Right, we've measured from the window where the machine gun will be firing from to the first American troops, and we've kind of agreed it counts as point blank, so it's going to be 6 for the medium machine gun plus 1 for Hitler's buzzsaw, needing only 2s, so 7 dice needing 2s, Gabby. Gabby rolled 6 hits at point blank, so that's six casualties and a pin. Just needed one more to push a morale test, but that's a big hit for the Americans. Right, the next die is American, and James opens fire with it's a light anti-tank gun with HE at the Germans in the building, but rolls a 2 and misses. Right, a German die, and it was agreed that the spotter in the house down here could see the American section there, and he's going to lob a mortar round from this mortar here, just needing a 6 on a d6. That's a 5, so it's missed, but it's a 5 next turn. Right, the American and the sniper is going to fire at the medium machine gun team. James has rolled a 6, so that's one of the crew dead because it's there are no cover saves. American and the platoon leader advances up behind the squad that just got mauled by the medium machine gun, and is also coming under mortar fire. German and the rifle squad runs into the bottom floor of the house. American die and the US paras, who are outflankers, come on the flank chosen by James, hop over the wall and position themselves behind the bocage, facing, as it goes, the Germans in the house now. Right, the US paras open fire through the bocage into the Germans in the house. James ended up with 1 kill and 1 pin on the unit inside. Germans and this squad run across the road and into the bottom floor of the town hall. Another German die and another house occupied by the German squad.
I'll just put him there.
Another German die. No, stick him inside. Another German die, and the German commander also runs into the house on the ground floor, but we've stuck him in the roof for convenience. German yet again, and the platoon commander for the weapons section advances over the wall towards the house, close to obviously supporting the German troops inside. American and the rifle squad inside the house now runs out and lines the orchard wall directly facing the German unit that's running down the street. Gabby now springs his second ambush. He had a unit hidden on the map in the top floor of that building, and they are, of course, going to open fire on the Americans that have just run into the orchard, but the Americans are going to get hard cover. Gabby springs his ambush, 9 dice, that's a light machine gun from one window, and 4 rifles, 2 each from either window either side, and obviously it's Hitler's buzzsaw, so the light machine gun gets a +1, so 9 shots in all, needing 4s on the Americans. Oh, that's pretty good roll. Only 1 miss, so that's 8 hits. 8 hits, 8's to save. But James will get a saving throw of 4 with him being behind hard cover of the wall. Well, miraculously, James saved 6 of his soldiers, so only 2 casualties and 1 pin from the ambush that came from that building. The white dice have definitely changed on this game, Dabby, compared to the last one. American medium machine gun team hop over the wall, trying to position themselves on the road, obviously facing towards the building where the German medium machine gun team is, but can't fire because obviously the line of sight's blocked by their own vehicle. American and more American airborne arrive outflankers on the far left of the American line, but unfortunately they won't be able to fire at the Germans in the house because of the bocage just blocking the field of view. German and the spotter spotting for this mortar can see the Americans down here in the orchard, and he's going to try and range in on them. So it's first round needing a 6 to hit. No, it's a 4, but 5 next turn. American and the American airborne platoon commander also arrives behind his troops on the left flank. German die, and the officer also runs and joins the squad inside the bottom of the town hall. Finally, the American company commander now makes his way onto the battlefield. He is Major Pitts. Well, that's the end of turn 3, and actually quite a lot of movement and quite a lot happened. Certainly a bit of a bloodbath, the Americans, at this crossroads here at Objective B. The Americans are pushing out from here into the orchard. It's brought them into very close contact with the Germans here, and also sprung the ambush from the Germans in the building up there. So yeah, on to turn 4, and we'll see if the artillery barrage comes in. Although if it does, the Americans are now dangerously close to their own shells. Okay, the start of turn 4, and the artillery barrage came in. James rolled a 5. He then rolled another 5, so it was D6 plus 5. 11 inches was the radius. As a result, the Americans were hit. The German unit in here that was on ambush, they were also hit, and the 2 units inside the building here, the officer and the rifle squad, they came under the barrage. As did, very unfortunately, the German squad here. Now, this was the only squad where a direct hit was scored as well. Everybody else just took pins. So again, they're going to receive a heavy howitzer hit and 4-inch template, which actually encompasses, I think, 7 of them in total. So James is going to roll 7d6 and needs anything but 1s. So there were 5 killed. With obviously no cover save and 2 pins, so not enough to force a morale test, but certainly a heavy blow to that German unit. Right, the first down was American, and James ordered a snap to with his para platoon commander, and both squads have run around the bocage and are taking up position just there with the officer as well, trying to flank the Germans in the town. American and James just advances his Stuart light tank right up to the crossroads, but doesn't engage any targets. The American squad that secured Objective A now runs in to the house to give itself some cover on the ground floor. German and the Stug arrives on turn 4 and advances up the road, pivots and moves off just into the field. Another German die, and fearing being crushed by the Stug, the mortar team up sticks and advance over the wall into the rear courtyard. Yep, American and the bazooka team run 12 inches up the road, just hugging the building line. Right, it's a German die, and using the laser spotter, we have decided that the medium machine gun is going to open fire on the bazooka team because it has got a line of sight. Not very good shooting this time. Only 3 hits on the bazooka team, converting to 1 casualty. Obviously, no cover save. It's 1 pin. The load has been lost. Good old-fashioned Napoleonic curtain ring there. However, they did pass their morale test because it was 9 minus 1, but the next to the officer, so they passed it. James's company commander, Major Pitts, from the Eagle has landed, issues a snap to and orders the medium machine gun and the small light mortar team to run up through the field towards the junction. Right, the Germans passed their order test. They lost a pin, and Gabby very wisely now advances them behind the bocage to give them some cover so they don't get shot at by the Americans in the open. The American medium machine gun opened fire on the Germans inside the house, causing 1 hit. It didn't make a casualty, but has put an extra pin on that medium machine gun team. Now up to 2 pins. The German mortar fired again at the Americans behind the wall of the orchard, missing. Now needing a 4 on the next turn. Right, the Germans in the house passed their order test, went down to 2 pins, open fired on the Americans behind the wall, caused another casualty, but crucially pushed them up to 5 pins now on that American unit. Right, the Germans in the house opened fire on the paratroops behind the bocage, but failed to score any hits and didn't even put a pin on them. The sniper team just run into the building to get some cover and away from the main street. The US platoon leader him and his men opened fire on the German machine gun in the house. So we calculated that the only two that could realistically fire would be the riflemen. Everybody else's line of sight would be kind of either blocked, either by their own figures being within 1 inch or the tank being there. Either way, James opened fire with 2 riflemen into the medium machine gun team in the housemen that failed to score any hits or any casualties. Gabby opened fire with his medium machine gun team on the Americans that can be seen just down here behind the tank. However, when they opened fire, only then did they realise that they were in fact out of range. Right, Gabby ordered a snap to with his platoon leader inside the house. He passed his order test. The rifle team also passed their order test, just went down to 1 pin, and they are going to open fire at the Americans behind the orchard walls. It's going to be 7 shots. 4 plus 1 from the light machine gun, Hitler's buzzsaw, and 2 rifles firing from the window. So 7 shots in total, needing 5s because of the -1 the pin. This American unit is taking some right fire. Gabby hit but didn't cause any casualties. Well, he did, but James saved it. But they are now up to 6 pins. Right, so that was the end of turn 4. There's quite a lot of movement going on from the American side. The Germans as well. Quite a few casualties and units certainly taking pins and coming under fire. We will see what turn 5 brings. Right, we've reached turn 5, but on discussion, James and Gabby have agreed that realistically this is probably a defensive victory for the Germans. The Americans are kind of boxed in. They're not going to really be able to push much further up the table, albeit they've got 2 objectives apiece. Certainly, Gabby and the Germans secure more buildings. And at the moment are in the slightly stronger position. Obviously, as time goes on and more American units had arrived, the situation had changed. But as it stands, we've agreed to it is a defensive German victory, and yeah, we'll see what both players thought of the game. Right. So first of all, we'll just get Gabby's thoughts on the game.
Well, the game proceeded how I was hoping it would. My aim was to buy time and to force the oncoming American forces into a narrow pocket by taking over as many buildings as possible. I've secured 2 of the objectives, but by taking over 5 buildings, each then becoming a strong point, it would have made James's position more difficult, as he would have had to have fought his way through each one. The problem for the Germans was that they knew in time they would have to probably withdraw, because they would have known that there would have been a massive amount of American reinforcements. But the main aim that I had was to buy time and then slowly, when the need did arise, slowly withdraw to a better defensive position. In that time, it would have cost the Americans, as it always does, high casualties.
Yeah. Well, did you enjoy the game?
Very much.
Excellent, nice one. Right, we'll now hear from the US commander, James. Right, James, what was your view of the battle and your plan?
Yeah, very difficult coming into a built-up area. Lots of potential for ambushes on the buildings. I entered in through this area here, very wary of this set of buildings. There could have been potential ambushes. I came in with 2 small groups of infantry. No real leaders amongst them, as I was worried about getting casualties early on in my command structure, which would have really made it a very difficult game for me. I was aware that I had reinforcements coming on, which I utilised on this flank to try and get round, but the ambush that Gable set up in this area
that was devastating.
Slowed me down quite devastatingly, and the advance petered out.
Yeah,
I managed to take this building and hold this line, but with the arrival of German armour, it was going to make the task too difficult.
Yeah, and you forgot your bazooka team.
And my bazooka team will be cashiered.
Yeah. Other than that, did you enjoy the game?
Yes, I enjoyed it very much.
Excellent, nice one.
Great stuff.
Right, everyone, thank you for watching if you stayed to the end. It was quite a good game. We're just in the process of tidying up now, taking all the figures and that off, and I forgot to do the final clip. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I think the hidden movement thing on the map worked quite well, certainly for Gabby with his ambush. I think James probably wishes now his outflankers had come on from the bridge. I think if they had, it might have been a slightly different ending. Filming for the first time using a DJI camera as opposed to my mobile phone, so I hope that comes out okay. Next game is probably going to be the next video report. Probably going to be back end of July because we've got holidays coming up and my youngest daughter's moving as well. So obviously that takes priority. But no, thank you for watching and see you in the future soon. Goodbye.